Hi, my name's Darren from UK Pro Tile and Training. Today's lesson is on quartz tiles. So I have a quartz tile here, and because it's a really popular tile and it looks beautiful on a floor, and a quartz tile has got all these little mirror chippings ingrained into the tile, and it's ground flat, and these little mirrors catch the light. So anytime you see these little flashy things in a tile, it's generally going to be a quartz tile. And this video is to stop you making mistakes and failures with this tile, because over the years I've seen so many people use this tile and think they know what they're doing, and the whole job goes wrong. And these are really expensive tiles, so it's not really the failure that you really want. Looking at a porcelain tile, which I've got here, people can mistake the fitting of a quartz tile as just a porcelain tile. So what they do is they get a bag of flexible adhesive, they mix it with 5 litres of water, they apply the tiles on the notch beds, and everything works with porcelain. However, the makeup of a quartz tile is totally different to porcelain. Porcelain is made with a product called kaolin, and it's fired at about 2,500 degrees in a kiln, and it just makes it hard, and the flexible adhesive bonds to the back of that tile, makes it work. With a quartz tile, we have to be really careful with adhesives. Now, this quartz tile here is made up of 92% quartz and about 8% resin that binds all that quartz together, and they block it together and then they grind it until it's into a slab like this is a tile. And it's the resin inside this tile that is going to cause your problems and your mistakes. So the first thing is with adhesives. So we need the same flexible adhesive, however, we've got to substitute the water that would normally mix up in the adhesive with a liquid latex that tends to come in a 5 litre canister like this. So if you just go down to your tile shops, and because there's loads of different brands, so just see what the tile shops are selling, but specify that you need a 2-part adhesive, and that 2-part is going to be the 5 litres of latex and the bag of flexible adhesive. No water involved, and you're going to mix them two as normal until you've got your cementous paste that you're going to trowel and fit the tiles with. And that's because if there's any water in this adhesive, the water reacts with the resin in the tile, and it can cause like a sort of a curling. And that curling there, especially on the floor, and it curls like this, what happens is when you stand on the tile, it like sort of rocks the tile off the bed and the tiles just come loose. So again, nobody wants that kind of failure, especially with the price of these tiles. It's not recommended. So again, I can't stress this enough, it's a 2-part adhesive that you need to fix quartz. Now the next problem that I get is a lot of people want this over underfloor heating. There's 2 kinds of underfloor heating you can get. One is a water fed that's piped through a concrete floor, and it heats the slab up and it heats the room that way. And the other one is electrical mat that goes under the tiles. Either one of them is no good for quartz. If you read all the manufacturer's instructions on these quartz tiles, it will say do not install over underfloor heating systems. That's because, again, as the heat comes up, it can cause a weakening in the resin in this called like cupping. It's a curling effect. So again, the tiles can debond off the floor through that heat system there. So as long as you're aware of these like sort of pitfalls, you're not going to make these expensive mistakes for yourself or your customers. The next problem is putting them on the walls. Floors are okay, but walls, a lot of bathrooms tend to be done with plasterboard. Now plasterboard is fine. This has a weight ratio of 32 kilograms per square meter, and this tile here is nowhere near that, so we could quite easily fix that tile, that quartz tile, direct onto a raw plasterboard. However, what you've got to be careful here is a lot of plasterboards in bathrooms have been skimmed, and what that is, the plaster will come over with these multi-finish, and you'll skim that board sort of flat with a layer of plaster. Sometimes they're painted, and again, you do not want to be fixing these quartz tiles on top of paint or on top of the skimmed wall. As soon as you put a skim on top of this plasterboard here, it will take that weight ratio of the plasterboard down to about 20 kilograms per square meter, which is not enough to hold a quartz tile. So porcelains you can get away with, ceramics you can get away with, but not natural stones on skimmed walls, especially this thickness and this size. So really what we need to do here is, if it is a skimmed wall, we need to put cement boards on. And if you don't know what them are, look at another video about how to install cement boards. But we need to sort of overlay that board there with cement boards and screw it and fix it there, and then fix that tile direct to the cement boards. Trowels wise, if it's going on a floor, I'd recommend use a 12mm trowel. So this video is not really about sort of how to fix tiles. I've done that in another sort of video. It's really just to show you the importance of failures that can happen with the weight and the problems with this quartz tile, really especially. But just to go over, what we'd do is we'd trowel the floor with a 12mm trowel. And then, with it being like a large 600 or bigger, what we'd do here is we'd get the adhesive on the flat side, and then we'd flatten all the back of that with a thin skim of adhesive. And then once we had the adhesive on the back of the tile, we'd then place the tile into the ribs of adhesive on the floor. So that's how that would be fitted there. Pretty same on a wall. If I was fitting this size tile on a wall, I would probably use a 10mm trowel. So again, I would serrate the wall with all the ribs of adhesive. Then I would back skim the tiles again. Same process on the wall, slide over. You can watch one of my other videos of how to sort of apply tiles correctly with that method. But that's how you actually fit them tiles. There's one more thing. This generally requires a sealer as well. What a sealer is, it's a product that goes on the top of tiles. Again, this porcelain here is very polished, so this is susceptible to staining and losing the dull. And the dull finish can come from the grout and stains. So really, to stop the grout from staining these tiles, would apply a sealer over the top of these tiles here, leave the sealer to dry, and then would grout up with joints, and that stops the dulling surface of that. So there's a few problems can go on if you don't really know what you're doing. So hopefully this video has helped you out, understanding a little bit more in how to keep yourself safe without any trouble. So if you've liked this video, watch the next one. Click the subscribe button for the next video on the line. Thank you very much.